everyone, welcome to another episode of Faces of the Jewellery Quarter. We're at Gemport today with Dave. Hello.
Hello there, good morning.
Good morning. Tell me a little bit about the business and how you started and why.
Okay, so Gemport Jewellery Limited. Gemport, the word that we needed for the business had to be something that was viable to what we were going to do. So gem means precious and a port is a hub of activity. So Gemport was born. Officially we've been running 5 years now, but it's actually, its first existence occurred about 16 years ago when we were really playing at starting a business. Both my wife and I had other careers, other jobs, so what we did was to develop a business that we could both eventually go into and develop ourselves.
Was your background with your previous job in jewellery making?
No, not at all. My wife's was. So
Right.
my wife, Joanne, she's been in the industry since she was 16. So from an early part of her life, she's been involved in the jewellery trade, the jewellery industry. An immense amount of knowledge is attained in that time. And then she found employment with one of the large trade businesses in the Jewellery Quarter, probably the largest supplier of platinum in Europe. And a lot of expertise was developed there, a lot of connections, and those connections, that expertise, we were then able to take forward to start the business properly.
Definitely. So you started because your wife had a passion for jewellery.
Absolutely.
And then you became passionate about it.
I became a single-person sales team very, very
Right.
quickly. What happened was that people, very much in networking, when you meet people, you have to meet them first. They have to like you, they have to get to know you, and they have to trust you. And if you have clientele that are parting with a large amount of money, that meet like no trust is very important. So that was my role from early on in the business. It was connections that I was forming, people that I began to know quite well, and they would come to us for their precious items, and that's how the business evolved.
I mean, definitely trust is very much involved when it comes to jewellery and selling jewellery. And you build a major relationship with your clients, right?
Every time, because the only way, certainly in the Jewellery Quarter, because people come to the Jewellery Quarter for precious items on the whole, and there's over 300 retailers out there, and there are workshops galore, and a lot of them are very, very good. So we have to give people a reason to come here. They have to have every reason to use us and to keep using us. What I would call residual income are people that will use us month after month or year after year, and they will only do that if they trust us and if they've got to know us quite well. That's the essence of it, is trust. Yeah.
So aside from trust, what makes you special? You mentioned that you have private events with your clients.
Of course, yeah. Well, we have private consultations first of all, so we go that extra mile. Our business model was based on basically what other jewellers and other jewellery businesses won't do or can't be bothered to do. If another jeweller can't do something, it's usually because there's no financial gain in that. So we think that even though the ways that we operate is sometimes a little bit more time consuming, we probably spend a lot of time with clients, more than any other outlet would prefer, but by doing that we usually have a positive result at the end of it. They have the item that they're really thrilled with, and we have the pleasure of having them as a customer.
Amazing. So how does a consultation start?
Okay.
So they come here and then they ask you for something specific, or you give advice?
A little bit of both, and we can go to the clients as well. So if we have done home visits, we've recently done one for a lady who's in the later stages of pregnancy and doesn't find it easy to get to us. They're regular clients, they've been customers of ours for years, have referred a lot of people to us, so we take pleasure in going to their home and doing the consultation there. Most of our images and facilities are online or on our internet access. What we can do is show them everything that we could show them here. Usually when they come here, that we'll greet them at the gates, we'll allow them into a secure parking area, we'll park them up. If it's raining, I'll go outside with an umbrella, keep them dry, bring them in, everybody gets a luxury coffee, refreshment, sits down. If it's a particular celebration, we'll give the customer something a little bit stronger to make them feel more relaxed. And then once we know what they're looking for, once we've usually got an idea, but usually once we know what they're looking for, we can take them in the right direction to get the right item at the right costing as well.
So it's a full service?
Full service, there's nothing that we don't do.
Great.
If we can't do it, we have suppliers and contacts and associates with us that can do what we need to do. So for instance, we do an antique service. Now we don't do that actually ourselves, but we have a contact that does the antique service for us. So for people bringing valuable or any antique into us, we can get it valued off-site and get the customer the information that they need. Some of the services that we provide, the valuation services, are done in-house. We do most of those ourselves in-house, and then the workshop, which is now just across the courtyard, as you've seen, and the watch repairing as well. Now, watch repairing and watches are with the luxury watch market, we need strong, viable suppliers with us, and we have 2 or 3 really good suppliers of luxury watches, so we can offer that service as well.
Are your suppliers in the Jewellery Quarter?
Yeah, some are and some aren't. We find that we've gone out of the area to meet other suppliers and providers. We've done that over the last 5 or 6 years. We've also gone out of the country. So my wife and co-director Joanne went to Antwerp recently, where she met an ample supply of diamond suppliers, and those suppliers are constantly in touch, offering us alternatives, the best prices, the best diamonds, whatever they can offer it for at that time. So we have a whole network of suppliers at the minute, out of the area and in the area.
That's incredible. So when, obviously you mentioned that the Jewellery Quarter is a place where there is a lot of jewellery shops, obviously, but what makes this quarter special to be in?
I think if you compare us to other, if you look at Hatton Garden in London, it's very bespoke, it's very high end, but you're looking at London prices, you're looking at a London edge, a London feel to that. So what I think you have here, and I think where the Jewellery Quarter has its edge and its quality, is that it was very much an industry where it was a manufacturing area for many years when they started, so it was always made here. It wasn't just a retail outlet area, and as the area has evolved, there's a lot of very good retail outlets here. I would like to include us amongst them, but they all offer a different facility. So some are very high, they have high visibility on the main streets of the Jewellery Quarter, they can be seen. Some others, like ourselves, are a little bit more in the background, where we either have to let you know about us or you seek us out, but either way I think it complements the area, and I think it's different for that reason. I think Birmingham's Jewellery Quarter has an edge over everywhere else because there's nothing here that isn't done.
Definitely.
Everything is done here.
Definitely. And what is the next step for Gemport?
That's a really good question. We have a lot of plans for the business. So the first thing is that we have over the last 2 or 3 years we've probably created 30 plus of our own designed rings, which are purely ours. So we've got a CAD facility, computer-aided design. So we've created the rings, we've created the images. Some of them have been sold, and some of them have been done by us as a collection of our own samples. We call it Gemport Prestige because it's a prestige level. None of the rings will be low budget. We tend not to be low budget with most of what we do. We prefer not to be. If we put our name to it, it has to be a quality item. It has to stand the test of time for people's heritage, so that if you buy a piece from us, part of the Gemport Prestige, then it will last for generations to come. So it's an investment more so. Those will be assessed in a showcase, and we will be taking those to the wider region. We'll be taking those out so that people, if they wish to, they could sell Gemport Jewellery rings on our behalf. They can place the order. The order will be processed in the workshop, cast off-site, polished and finished on site, boxed and then sent to the customer either direct or to the outlet. So that's the first thing that we're looking at. And the second thing we're looking at with the workshop is offering people a workshop experience day. So maybe on a Saturday morning, 3 or 4 people could book in for a workshop experience under supervision of a qualified jeweller. They would be allowed and encouraged to create a piece of jewellery, possibly their own wedding rings.
That's incredible.
Carved out into a nice mould and then formulated into what they've created for their loved one, and then we'll have lunch, then we'll at a later date cast it up in their preferred metal and ship it out to them as and when the date is required.
That's incredible. I mean, you mentioned heritage. I always think of jewellers as a massively important part of a person's special moments.
Yes.
What makes being a jeweller amazing?
When people cry in front of us for the right reasons.
Imagine if they cried for the wrong
Disappointment.
reasons.
Yeah, they're so upset. We've really let them down then, haven't we? That's never happened.
No.
That's never happened.
Good.
What we tend to enjoy is that emotional connection. We have many emotional connections. I would hasten to add that a lot of our customers have become friends since.
Yeah.
We occasionally, if they've had the engagement ring and the wedding rings from us, we occasionally get invited to the wedding subsequently, which is really lovely. So we've never known them before they've arrived, maybe at the beginning of 1 year, and then in the following year when the wedding plans are taking place, we get a wedding invitation arrive.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's exactly the word, it's beautiful. It really, and that's what motivates us. It's that attention to detail isn't difficult to achieve, providing that you put the time into the the client. If you invest time in them, they will invest every interest in you, and that's where we thrive. So the connection is, on that happy occasion, weddings and engagements are fantastic. We've sometimes opened a bottle of bubbly here for them, and they've celebrated, and we've been part of that. On the other side, there is a more sentimental journey we go with people, and that's when we have loved ones that have passed away, sometimes children that are no longer with us. So we do pride ourselves in providing specific jewellery for them, maybe using metal from loved ones that have passed away. We can incorporate precious fingerprints and handprints from, we've done it with young babies where unfortunately they haven't survived, but we've been able to incorporate a lasting memento for mum and dad and the other loved ones that still remain, so that they've then got something to hold and cherish and pass on to the next generation and the next generation. Because we've always said that if the Staffordshire hoard was in the ground for 500 years and it was found accidentally, dug up, polished, and it looked brand new, then really the jewellery that we're creating and selling now is exactly the same. We pass it on to our loved ones. It goes on from generation to generation to generation, and all being well, if it's looked after, it will last an eternity. So we are the custodians of what we create, and we just pass them on to the next generation.
That's incredible. I love that. So let's talk about your awards. You've won quite a few.
We have now. Yeah, they come quite as a surprise, really, because you're normally, rule of thumb is that somebody will nominate you for an award. So the first thing you hear is that an email will arrive and say that you've been nominated for an award in a certain category, which is really good. What we found in the first part of developing the business, maybe 5 years ago, that we were maybe nominated, we would attend an award ceremony, and we wouldn't necessarily be successful on that occasion because people don't know us, the judging panel might not know us, they might not be familiar with what we do, but we have been nominated and recognised. As the years have progressed, the success rate has increased. So we've received a Regional Family Business Award for, in our particular category as a family business with the Federation of Small Businesses, which was a nice achievement. That was last year. We've received Manufacturing Excellence Awards 2 years running now with the Family Business Awards, which are based in thank you, which is Derbyshire and Nottingham. We are highly commended in that category, which means on both occasions, out of 150 candidates, we're down to the final 6, and we've ended up twice now in second place, highly commended. So our ambition and aim now is to excel, to get that first place recognition.
I'm sure you won't have any problem.
We are trying very hard. And the other awards that we receive, which mean an awful lot to us as well, are from our peers, our business contacts and networking colleagues, because the groups that we attend, the places where we go, those are the people that nominate us and take us into an area where, you know, when you're nominated, it's really good to receive, but when you actually win that award, I think we're now at about award number 9, which we're really pleased about, and we don't really promote that as much as we could, but it's just nice to know that we're doing something right.
Because you don't want to brag, that's why.
Sometimes it doesn't look good. A boastful person is not good for business, but what we like to do is I think more than anything, it offers our clients and our customers, it makes them reassured, it gives them affirmation that we are a viable jeweller. We are a member of the National Association of Jewellers as well, so that also gives us affirmation. Combined with the awards, people are comfortable to deal with us.
Definitely. And how can people find you? I mean, you have a website.
We have www.gemportjewellery.co.uk is the website. If they want to email us, they can email us at sales@gemportjewellery, which if they contact us by phone, we will always endeavour to get back to them as soon as we can. We have a decent website presence. We can also be found on social media, so Facebook and Instagram predominantly. And if any questions arise for anybody, they can always call us 0121 448 5545.
Brilliant. Well, you've heard it all. If you're looking for an amazing private consultation and an extremely good service, and to invite somebody at your wedding, then come to Gemport. Thank you for following another episode of Faces of the Jewellery Quarter, and I'll see you next week.